South Tucson has been at high risk for displacement long before COVID or the inflation crisis came into the picture. But certainly, these factors have worked to exacerbate the problem within Barrio Viejo. Homelessness in Arizona has increased by 21% from 2020 to 2022. Over the past year, rents in Tucson increased a whopping 124%, with the average rent price at $1,980. Although it appears as though rents are dropping again, people are still getting pushed onto the streets, and affordable housing is non-existent to low-income and working-class communities. The city of South Tucson is especially vulnerable to displacement and gentrification, as 38.6% of the population live in poverty with a median income of $28,704. A large majority of people living in South Tucson are people of color, and unemployment and child poverty are one of the highest in the state. Casa Maria has been at the forefront of the fight against gentrification and displacement, raising awareness, organizing the community, and demanding the city build more affordable housing and implement policies that actually protect residents, especially those of low-income families. We know multi-pronged solutions to the housing crisis exist, but efforts from the city have been mostly futile and disconnected from reality as more and more people end up on the street. Many who do manage to keep a roof under their head are paying exorbitant rents that take up the majority of their monthly incomes. They are forced to work multiple jobs just to pay rent. What's worse, many are forced to settle for deplorable living conditions, despite the high costs. Because South Tucson is a marginalized community, it's become prone to slumlords, who invest in properties with substandard living conditions, invest little to no money on repair and maintenance, and target low-income groups for their tenants. While most landlords are long-term investors who view rent payments as a main source of income, slumlords tend to be short-term speculators who are out to make a quick buck by property flipping or siphoning government funds through subsidized tenants. Such is the case in South Tucson, where the Spanish Trail and the 6th Avenue suites, owned by the same owner, have become prime examples of slumlord property.
It's terrible. It's probably one of the worst places. It's probably the worst place I've ever lived in, I've ever experienced other people living in. They shut the water off on us randomly whenever something has to be done. No notification. We've been without hot water for days. We will get no warning, and it will be off for days, 2, 3, 4 days at a time. No warning, which means we can't shower. My husband can't shower for work. We can't give our son baths. He has colic. The only way that you can help him is by warm baths. Can't do anything. We have taken pot after pot after pot after pot, heated up on the stove, and dumped it into the tub, just trying to get our son some relief. I was pregnant here all through summer, no AC the entire time. So we've got a window unit that we scraped together some money to be able to do. This before my husband was working. And he gives us hell about it. Oh, that's against your lease. You're not able to have that. And I'm like, okay, well, you have two choices then. You either need to fix our AC or you need to give me a letter of permission. Well, I'm not going to do either one right now because that AC is too expensive to fix. I'm like, we're also in Tucson. It's 115 outside. Do you know how much it is in that plywood box? There's no ventilation in the bedroom that we have.
We refused to pay because they weren't taking care of the problem. They neglected months and months and months. It went on for months. The impact's still so.
How long did that take for them to do all of that?
It took them 2 months. When it started happening, because it started coming down here. We started coming through there. I took pictures of all that, and I made a description of everything, and I took it to the office. And this was on a Friday, and I caught the maintenance people and the owner all in the office, and they told me if we don't get to it tomorrow, which was going to be a Saturday, we'll get to it Monday. Monday, Tuesday, Monday, the whole 3 months came by. And nothing got taken care of. I had to go get cardboard boxes and use a squeegee to squeeze the water out of the carpet and put the cardboard on top so it can soak it up. And then put the fan to dry it. I had to do all that myself and never got compensated for it. That's why I didn't pay. And then she got sick on me. She wound up in the hospital.
How long has this been broken?
For like about almost 2 months.
2 months?
Something like that.
Is it cold? Does it get cold
It
in
gets
there?
cold, and then there's a lot of vandalism and theft and stuff in here. So I can't really leave my house too much. When I do, I gotta take all my valuables with me, like computers and stuff like that. We didn't have air conditioning for the whole summer, pretty much, until and you had to stay outside at night because it was too hot. It was horrible. Yeah, and all you got was just excuses that things were getting fixed, but nothing ever happened.
They're fixing over there. Is that the area that got burnt down?
Yeah. That's how I said that. Just within the last years.
And are they going to be fixing your guys' units? Have you heard anything?
I don't know what they're planning on doing. We don't know anything.
Those, because they're building brand new, they're being built for current code. Each one of those apartments over there has their own individual AC. Each one of them over there. And ceiling fans, and all the different amenities. Excuse me now.
You're good.
As amenities we will not get because it's more expensive. And yet Brian can drive around here in 2 brand new trucks. I mean, it's hard to know which vehicle he's going to choose today. It's like he has to match his shoes or something. It's ridiculous.
What do you think is going to happen? These units are getting restored and they're all nice and everything else. I mean, how is that?
I was hoping that they would restore that and move us over there so they can gut this one out and redo all this, because this is old.
Do you think that would happen?
I don't think so, because over there, according to what she heard through the grapevine, is they're going to be charging $800 over there. We're paying $600.
So let's say if that was to happen, is that something that you can pay?
No, not with her income. I haven't got my income. I was on disability, and they took me off of disability. I got hit by a car. My ribs are busted. I got a rod here on my arm, on my leg, and I keep having seizures. And they took me off of disability.
My housing program knows what Brian does.
Okay.
But because there are certain citizens of the United States that are not looked at like people, those are ex-convicts. People who have maybe done stupid things as kids or just barely adults, and then they're punished for it for the rest of their lives. If you have a record, you are looked at as subhuman. My husband is one of those people. Did some crazy stuff when he was a kid, lashing out over an abusive stepfather, that he's not allowed to vote. His opinions suddenly no longer matter just because of this act. We have to live in places like this to raise our son, because as soon as anybody sees that he has a record, nope, sorry, can't help you. Regardless, it was over 15 years ago. He has kept his, completely clean, no problems. I mean, he's dry, clean, sober, over 15. So when somebody like Brian accepts that class of citizen, because they're looked at as subhuman and no longer have any rights as that kind of individual, he doesn't care. Nobody cares, and he knows he can get away with this because no one else will take us.
Yeah.
Request to move to the agency that I'm with, and really it's too hard because people can't afford to pay their back rent and everything, and you just feel like you're being bullied and shit all the time. So if you say anything, it's like you're like risking them finding a reason to kick you out or some shit. It's like you can't get in anywhere. If you're in a place, even if you're in a slum like this, it's like it's best to stay where you're at, because you might be ending up on the street or homeless again. So it's best to like shut up and just not do anything.
I mean, I have written email after email after email to other private renters going, look, this is our situation. This is what my husband's record is. We have a son. We're just trying to raise our son safely.
Yeah.
Can't help you, good luck. Can't help you, good luck. I'm like, nowhere will take us. My husband works his ass off. Really does.
the keys. I said I actually have a set of those ones I got no
Casa
idea.
Maria recently bought the El Camino Motel at 297 East Benson Highway, with plans to operate it as an affordable housing complex. The 20 units will be rented monthly to people earning less than 80% of the area median income, for between $600 and $700 a month, which will include utilities. Casa Maria had previously bought single-family homes and duplexes in the area to keep them affordable. The El Camino presented an opportunity to accelerate these efforts.
Casa Maria has been serving South Tucson for over 40 years. Lots of people, they live in my motel, also receive services from Casa Maria in order to get by. I'm getting almost in a retired age, so I want to pass it to the right people who got a bigger and a better vision, than my vision. And poverty is all around us, and we cannot just ignore it.
But there is still a lot of work to be done to the property. The hope is to be able to raise $400,000 to add kitchenettes to all the units and support tenants in other ways. We know that this alone will not solve the housing crisis. But if the government is not taking the necessary steps to protect tenants, who will? This is only one part of an ongoing multi-pronged struggle against gentrification and displacement and for housing, equality, and justice for all.